I know some of you already know me, but I will make the official slide. So I'm Benjamin Delpy, my name is Gentil Kiwi. I created mimikatz, like saying in the advertising, but also kekeo. I will speak more about kekeo today. Keep cool about that. I don't have any certification because I don't like that. I'm French, and for the official say, I'm working in French Central Bank as a researcher now, but legal department time, I don't code mimikatz or kekeo on my normal work times. It's my hobby at night because it's so offensive in a certain point of view. So mimikatz is a lot of code like kekeo. You will see it's my hobby. During some years, you know kekeo, mimikatz with the name, maybe for old people, KDL pipe, cats, stuff like that. There is a big Kiwi icon like me, and at the origin of mimikatz, it was not to dump password. It was for me to learn C, to dump certificate, to bypass GPO at works, very stuff like that. Even to cheat at Minesweeper, or to make some pass the hash, but I was not the former researcher about pass the hash. So in 2011, I discovered in memory, for the first time publicly, passwords, clear text passwords. It was a wonderful time for me. And since 2011, I make a lot of stuff in mimikatz. I dump Kerberos data, I dump credential key pass the ticket, I make golden ticket, silver ticket, patch for terminal server, a lot of works on DP API. I think I can make 2 or 3 talks just on DP API. It's very interesting when you have some secret access on Windows. I also coded with Vincent Le Tout, DC Sync and DC Shadow. The first way to get some NTLM hash IIS key from a domain controller remotely without touching the disk of the domain controller or to shutting down, of course. I even made a kernel driver that works on Windows 10, the latest versions, with my fake signature. It's very interesting, but that's not the subject today. I even think on all legacy system, and I code Mimilove, because I'm a French guy, so I love a lot of people. But I coded Mimilove for Windows 2000, because 2000 have NTLM hash Kerberos stuff in memory too. So don't forget legacy systems. I coded RPC stuff, and I bypassed the credential guard chain. I make this precision, because this morning there is guys that really bypass credential guards by accessing the memory. I don't make that, because it's difficult, and I'm lazy, and it will be fixed. And I'm very lazy, so I want it works all days. So bypassing credential guard is just make some hook in LSISS and have the clear text passwords. So literally, mimikatz makes the coffee for you. It's not a legend. I even add the equation to code a coffee command in mimikatz, just to demonstrate it's not an offensive program. You know, for the management, of course. We are now in 2019, yes, and it still has clear text password in memory. Yes, of course, even in Windows 10, because credential guard is not by default. You just have to put one registry key and you will have password in memory. It's magic, it works. And you know, hackers and bad guys, they know that. And they do that. And they do that really often. This is a really basic public site where mimikatz was used. I will let you imagine where it was. It's not difficult for something. It was also known by bad guys because it was on the theory, Mr. Robots. You can't imagine my phone when it was that. But no, there is a lot of script kiddies, some Kevins at 15 years old that want to use mimikatz to have password at school. So yes, they will do. So mimikatz is now very well known. And some company like, maybe I will not say the name, maybe you know them, that want to make some marketing buzz at BlueHat. If Mathieu is in the room, he took the picture, yes, about stopping mimikatz with Nerf gun. Yes, good idea, Nerf gun, stop mimikatz. Think about it. And some of their friends of their company even mock them, say, no, they don't stop it, but we stopped it. So it was marketing. So, okay, a lot of persons want to stop mimikatz to work, to dump passwords. That's very cool, but dumping password is 2011. You have seen the list that all mimikatz is doing to dump credential from the memory or bypass credential verification. So I don't need passwords, but companies are trying to stop it at these times. Okay, that's cool. But during these times, I was maybe less lazy at one day and I started to create kekeo. It was another program. Kekeo is not like mimikatz. I not started to create kekeo for learning C language because it was mimikatz, but I wanted to understand better the Kerberos protocols. Because in fact, when I was coding some Kerberos stuff in mimikatz, I can guarantee you I didn't understand at all some part of the Kerberos protocol. It was mysterious. When you read the RFC of Kerberos, it's an headache. Come on, it's impossible to read. I prefer to reverse Kerberos.dll than to read the RFC. It was more easy. And when you have reverse Kerberos.dll, you are able to read the RFC. So I started kekeo just to make my own Kerberos implementations. Because I don't code in Python, so sorry, I made it in C. And when you code your own Kerberos implementation, you are able to make all the cryptos that you want. You are able to make all the settings that you want that is not in documentation. It's your Kerberos protocol. You can make everything in that. And with your own Kerberos protocol, you can code very easily some clients for these Windows bugs, like this, that makes you, by example, user to enterprise admin. Very cool. It's fixed, I hope for you, on all the domain controller. If you have some legacy 2008, maybe you have not patched it. And it works as hell on all other stuff. But also on kekeo, not always Kerberos, but also on QuickSSP, TSSP, and some NTLM stuff. I will try to demonstrate you some of them today, if the god of the demo is with me. Because I don't have my Taitian shirt, so I hope my luck will be with me. So with kekeo, we present you TSSP. TSSP is not a real name inside Microsoft. It's not like CRED SSP. Maybe you have heard about CRED SSP, which is a protocol, or DLL as you want, that makes some credential delegation, credential sending on a remote computer or server. But TSSP is behind of that. I will demonstrate. PK init mustiness. For the guys or women that were here 1 year ago, I already presented PK init mustiness. But if you were here, you know that I presented it in 2 minutes at the end of my presentation, and I think nobody understood it. Even me, because 2 minutes, come on, I only copy-paste, and you will never understand. I will represent it because it's very dangerous, and it will help you to understand others. I will also present you kekeo with smart card. It's very important. There is a lot of crypto inside, because when you use smart card, you don't use password, of course. I will demonstrate that you use password when you make smart card, and it's very easy. And also a little homage from our former Rato guys, like Microsoft after. I will change my passwords from Windows without knowing my previous password. I say changing my password, not resetting. So it changed a lot of things in the event viewer or CM stuff. It's not, I didn't discover that. It's from our Rato. And I will explain you how you can have your own TGT from the Kerberos point of view without admin rights. So if I can do that, a malware can do that too. All of that in 36 minutes. Yeah, we will try. So TSSP. TSSP, there is an official documentation on Microsoft website about all protocols. So you can find it's single sign-on. Originally, formerly, it was for single sign-on for terminal server. There is something magic if you are lazy like me with remote desktop protocol. You are on Windows, you want to log on another desktop, and bullshit, it asks you your password. The same password that you have. So you type your password again and again all the day. Microsoft introduced with Windows 2003 XP and Vista, of course, single sign-on for terminal server. You enable a checkbox in Windows somewhere with some server names, and it's magic. You log on the remote server without typing your password. How it works. All of that is in the documentation. But it's not only for terminal server. You can find some CRED-SSP settings for remote PowerShell, Microsoft Virtual Console Service when you have some Hyper-V, and even when you install Visual Studio, you can find some settings about this kind of stuff. So just take a look. And in this documentation, you see that during the negotiations between the server and client, there is a very cool structure with username and password inside. It's very interesting because logically there is no password in memory, of course, but we know mimikatz, so we know there is password in memory. But at one moment, it explains that the password will be in clear text on the networks. In clear text in the protocol. There is encryption on it, of course. But passwords somewhere accessible. So I coded it in mimikatz. It's my first package to discover password, TSPKG password, with password in clear text. But you must be domain admin and access LISS memory. With this protocol, you can have access to the passwords. So it's complicated. There is a lot of exchange, blah, 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 blah. There is exchange, TLS. Oh, come on. You can't imagine how many hours I have to code in C to make all this exchange, even not on the networks. But the beauty of that is that you don't need to be local admin of your system to have access to your password. You only need to have access to the remote target or be able to impersonate the remote target. Sometimes it's more easy to be able to be local admin on the terminal jump stations, for example, that your own computers. For me, it is. So there is a lot of way to have access to the remote. So you can connect with remote admin and dump the memory content of the remote server to get the computer account that will be. You can impersonate with golden ticket, with PKE access, blah, blah, blah. And the beauty of that is when you have the computer password of your target, you don't need to be on the target anymore. You can be on your local computer and make the exchange locally. I will try the demonstration as usual. So because of the time, I will make it locally, because it will be, maybe, I think, so long for the time. So there is a PC. I log with my secret passwords. And because of the time, I already grabbed, this is the TGT of my PKI server. So this is a remote server, and I already have the identity of the remote server, because it was easy. But I don't care about this server. I want my password. So even if I am admin, I will not run as admin. That's just because I'm lazy. So what I will do, this command is just to have an empty session in memory. There is no credential in this new Windows. I have no ticket at all for the moment, no identity. But I will inject the identity of the server, my ticket. Oh, it's not the good one. Of course, the demo effect. So, okay, we will make that on the remote computer. That's not a problem. I adapt. So, I will run. Access denied, of course. So, I have another kekeo with a smaller font. Sorry, I will try to. And now I will just run the kekeo on my local computer without admin rights at all. And the command line is a little bit long, so I will copy paste. I just ask my kekeo client to connect to the PKI server on a named pipe, but it can be even on floppy disk if you want. That's just because I'm lazy and I want to use the networks. And I want to make some delegation access to the PKI server. It's an error at the end, but it's finished. It's just because of the networks. And on this server, you see my password in clear text. There is a lot of exchange between my clients. And if I stall, I will try to make a real demonstration with that. Yes. So. Not in the good directory. Up. This time it's okay. It was just about the time settings. So you don't need to be admin, but you can make it. You can make it with the same servers, the same things. And you can make it locally, even without the PKI servers. And at the end, you have your own password in clear text, without domain admin, without local admin or domain admin rights, of course. So this is only by protocol. No hack behind that. And you can't fix it, of course, because of the protocol. No. Don't applaud, we waste seconds with that. And I don't have a lot of time. So, just a little part about PKInit mustiness. So, this is Kerberos basics. When you authenticate with your password, secret password, WASA 12345, you only make a hash, by default, NTLM hash, it's RC4, or you make a derivation with IIS keys. You encrypt timestamp. The domain controller knows your password, your NTLM hash or IIS key. It can decrypt the timestamp. If the time is okay, 5 minutes more or less, it will give you a TGT with your session key encrypted by your password, your NTLM or your IIS key. Basics. That's the protocol. When you use smart card, you don't have passwords. That's the main problem. So you make crypto with smart card. So you have a timestamp. You will sync the timestamp with your private key, and you send the result to the domain controller. The domain controller will verify the signature, and in a very good way, that's not the problem. And if all is okay, it will give you a TGT with the session key of the ticket encrypted with your public key. And you will be able to decrypt the session key because you have access to your private key. Crypto basic, no hack. But there is another mode, Diffie-Hellman. This is RSA, you make a digital signature of the timestamp with your private key, no secret with that, but you will embed Diffie-Hellman parameters. You can simplify that, it's like a session key inside. You send it to the domain controller, there is Diffie-Hellman magic on the domain controller to have the common session key between you and the domain controller, and at the end it will give you the TGT with your session key encrypted by the Diffie-Hellman parameters, the session key, not your public key. And at the end, you decrypt the session key because you know the session key by your Diffie-Hellman parameters. There is a problem behind that. You need, when you have password, you need your password access to encode, and you need your password access to decode. When you have some smart card with RSA, you need your smart card to sync, and you need your smart card to decode the session key. When you use RSA with Diffie-Hellman mode, you need your smart card when you sync, but not when you will decode the session key. So this is very cool. You can sync in advance all the demands. So if someone asks you your smart card for 5 minutes, it will be able to use your certificates on, if you make some pre-signed timestamp, in 2 months. You will have your smart card in your pockets, but a guy will use your identity in 1 or 2 months. Live demo. This time without smart card because I will start to use virtual smart card, but it's exactly the same things. So we are here on the PC, we are admin, but I don't like this admin. I will go to user session to change. So I will log with a virtual smart card with my secret PIN code. And because I have a real PKI that works behind, normally I can log on with a smart card. Yes. We'll just check I'm really logged. I am. So, okay. Our users, the director, the president, we don't know. The user is logged with this secret smart card, 2-factor. Yes, perfect. But there is an hacker on the network, me. And we will make some stuff. I hope it's still valid. It's still valid. Okay. I just injected the local admin identity on my hack machine, which is outside domain, because you see previously I have the password in clear text. That's not a secret anymore. And now I will use mimikatz just as a tool to run process in another user context, not for the demonstration really. So this time I'm on the remote computers, and I see that there is user connected to this computer on the console. But you can imagine that you can make that on RDP jump box with hundreds of persons connected, and you can make your markets. Hey, I want to be this one, I want to be this one. Perfect. Because even remotely to the computer, I will be able to drive the smart card readers on the smart cards on the computers. And I will be able to sing pressing a timestamp. With this very big command line. So just to demonstrate that I know the PIN code, yes, it's not a secret. The PIN code is in clear text, in memory. You see that user is logged in with a PIN code WAZA. Yes, you can have PIN code with letters. This is not only number, and I prefer letters. It's cool too. But you can have longer, that's not a problem. And if I remember well, even with credential guard enabled, you will have this PIN code in memory. So now I will drive the smart card reader remotely. I will just use kekeo. Mimikatz will run kekeo. Yes, you must have both. To make some TGT ISREX subject users for the users that we want to impersonate. The PIN code that I've found in memory, and I want, because we're in the demonstration, 5 tickets in the future. But I can ask for more. Because it's a virtual smart card, it's fast. With a real smart card, it takes the time of the smart card to sync, but it's not very long. Just to demonstrate if I want. For this one, I have generated pressing a timestamp for its French hour, sorry, time zone. But I have pressing a timestamp in now, 10 minutes later, 10 minutes later, 10 minutes later. But if I want to have pressing a timestamp with another segmentation, I have generated pressing a timestamp for each day. On each day, around 2 hours on local hours, I will be able to use this pressing a timestamp. But for the demonstration, I will use the 2-day one, of course. So we exit. I have a command to make this kind of output in base 64, but for the demonstration I use file. Okay, I'm lazy, I don't want to copy paste all the time. So I retrieve all my multi-passwords. This is a pressing a timestamp. I will remove a lot of them because I don't need the 30 days for the demonstration. I only need the okay. So now I am on my hack machine. I will purge my ticket in memory because I have some. Normally, I don't have access to the DC. Even the standard user have access to the DC for the sysvol, netlogon, and stuff like that. But I don't have access at all. I'm a hacker. I don't have account for the moment. But I want to impersonate users without its smart card, and I will do it. So, just for the demonstration, I will use a bad ticket, just to demonstrate. It failed with a bad ticket, because this ticket is synced at 2 hours and 22 minutes. The DC times, my local time doesn't care, the DC times is 2 hours, 4 minutes. So it's not more or less 5 minutes. The DC rejects my signature because I'm too far in advance. It will be valid in 10 minutes? No. Yes, nearly 10, 15 minutes, it will be valid. And if I want to use a ticket for 1 month, it will fail also. I have to wait. But hopefully, I have ticket here. This is a good one. I hope the authenticator is good. So this time the authenticator was good. The authenticator was 2 on 2, and the local time is, I don't see, but it's 2 on 5, 6. So it's okay at more or less 5 minutes. And now I have in memory the identity of the users. So if I go to the DC, this time I have access. For people that make some security investigations, if you go to the security part of the event viewers, if it's not too slow, this is not the good one. Yes, this is a TGT request. And in the log, the event viewer sees me, hey, this guy authenticates with a certificate, with a smart card, but I don't have the smart card. So I can use all my authenticator for 1 month, 1 year. Just the certificate just need to be valid in this time, of course, or not revoked. But I can use, even without the smart card, I can use at multiple places around the world the same smart card without having access. So just make correlation. So, as I'll say, it's not Windows specific. It's on the RFC. Again, you must read the RFC. If you implement PKInit, which is a protocol for smart card certificate access in Kerberos, you must implement DFL-man. If you want to use elliptic curve instead of RSA, you must implement DFL-man. So in all cases, we have problems. So Microsoft have pushed a GPO for that, but you must have all your domain in Windows 2016 and Windows 10, which is a miracle, of course. Nobody will use it. But if you make some investigation on your networks, Kerberos traffic is in clear text, so it's very easy to say, hey, this guy may DFL-man, he's alone in the company, maybe we have a problem. And Microsoft pushed modification of the RFC just for that. Oh, I'm very fast today. Cool. I hope I'm not too fast. No, but my English is too bad. Yeah. Okay. I see the idea. Okay. So no, just to demonstrate, there is a good thing in Microsoft Windows instead of Linux on Mac. In my point of view, if you make Kerberos is from MIT, it's from Linux at the beginning. So if you log on Linux with Kerberos, with I think it's Keinit to ask your TGT with that. Your TGT will be in the TMP directory by default, and you will be able to copy paste. This is just a file. You can move it, you can make some copy. It's not very secure, especially for roots that will make this market. It's exactly the same for macOS. It's not always on the TMP. There is some different implementation. It's not the MIT one. By default, it's MDAL on macOS. But I've made some scripts. A standard user can dump its own TGT. It's not very secure. On Windows, by default, you can't dump your TGT. If you use mimikatz or kekeo, please dump all my tickets, you will see a 0000 session key for your TGT. So without this session key, you can't be able to use the TGT. So by default, it's secure. You can change this setting, especially for crappy Java applications that want to handle the TGT for you, by a global registry key, so everyone will be able to dump his TGT, but it's not secure, and it's your choice. You can use some system privilege to have access with the TCP privilege and system stuff to have access to ticket for everyone, but you must be admin or bypass UAC. And of course, with raw memory access. So by default, standard users are protected. You can't, a malware in your browser that escapes the sandbox, it can't stole your Windows identity by dumping your TGT without specific rights. So it's cool. By default, it's cool. But by default, every user is allowed to have delegation tickets. That's very cool, because in all domains, you will find a specific target, which is always allowed to have access to tickets when you make some delegation, the domain controller. When you speak to a domain controller, each time you will send you TGT. Each time. So this is very simple. This is most other demonstration. I will just go to that. Here, I'm logged on users with my smart card, so there is no password. Sorry. bigger. You see, here I have a TGS for LDAP with the session key. This is standard. But I have my TGT with a null session key. I can't use the TGT. If I export it, I will not be able to use it because the session key will not be good. So what I do? I just ask. No, I don't know my own command. I must make documentation. I know that. I just ask a delegation ticket. So with that, I will not have exactly the TGT that is in memory, but I will have a TGT, and it's enough to use the identity of this person. Just to demonstrate, I will just close my session to flush all the memory. And now, I don't have access to the DC anymore. And I will not use my pkinit stuff now. I will use the fake delegate ticket that I dumped from the memory. So I can make it in base64, I can make it by the browsers, by malware, there is also a way, but I copy paste between them because of demo, okay? And even if it's a delegate ticket from the memory, I can use it. I hope. So I stole the identity without admin rights at all. And with that, I can access every resource on the domain that the user has normally access, without any elevation. So disable delegation when you don't need that, okay? No. There is another very fun command, again from our Rato, but I have implemented in kekeo because if I remember well, they never released the tool, so I was jealous. I have to make the version to the public, but I didn't discover that. And I'm very bad because it's very easy to discover. It's in the documentation. Again, when you have some hacker on your networks, when they want to access an account and they're very lazy, they don't have DCSync or golden tickets, that's very easy. They will take the account they want to impersonate, they will reset the password to make their own, and they will use the account. It's very noisy. You will have, in the event log, you have some data. Administrator or operator A reset the password of the sensitive account, alert. But guess what? What event didn't bring an alert? A normal user changed his own password. No problems with that. But to change the password in all Microsoft documentations, you have to know the previous password of the user, which is a nightmare when you use smart card. Because when you have to change the password, when you use smart card, you never use your password, so you don't remember. So you ask an administrator to reset it. So when you have smart card, it's very difficult to change the password because you forgot your password. So let's say it's just in case you forgot your password. So I can make it on the hack machine too. It's exactly the same idea. But I'm on this PC. If I want to change the password, you want to ask my code pin, but it will change my code pin. If I want to change my password, I must log with my password. Nightmare. I don't want to make that. I want to change my password. I think I have copy. Yep. So first, I already have one, but TGT ask user. We'll make it with a smart card. So you have a ticket of myself on the disk. And now if I am lucky, yes, of course, the copy paste doesn't work, VMware. I just make as an input the TGT, and I think it's new password. New, yes, new, and what's this one. Okay, the password is changed without knowing the previous one. And I can make the previous one again, no problems. I just need to have a TGT. But to have a TGT of a person, you don't need to have his password. You need to have a golden ticket, you need to have his smart card, you need to have PKinit mustiness files in 1 month, remember, and you will change his password without him knowing. And in the event log, I will not show you because of the minutes. There is just an event about changing password, not reset it, even if you don't know it. So yes, it was from Microsoft Auto. So I already make the demo, so don't wake up. So now we will speak more about, in 8 minutes, we'll speak about smart cards. But not real smart card. My own conception of using smart card in a hacking way. First, it's very difficult to make smart card working in real life, even without hacking. In the room, there is some people that make a PKI inside their company to make people authenticate with smart card? Come on, move your fingers. Some, yeah, thank you. Not a lot. It's not because you don't love smart card, it's because it's difficult, especially about the management stuff, revoke, oh, I forgot my card. So it's a lot of problems. But even with all this management stuff, it's difficult technically to make it work. There is a lot of condition, revocation, server, it's a nightmare. Even in a demo lab, nightmare. So usually you use a Microsoft PKI because it's easy and it's embedded in the license, so it's free. And you can have certificate for your domain controller, for your server, for your WIS, and of course user to log on for their mail, signature, and encryption, but to log on sensitive servers. But guess what? It's my reverse pyramid. When you make some hack, you consider local admin as good. It's cool. You can hunt about the account that you want on the network. When you have some local admin on the DC or agent, antivirus agent, it's like admin, but it's not really admin. When you are domain and enterprise admin, it's cool, and it's the goal of a lot of pen testers. But it's not enough, not for me. I really prefer, in fact, DC account, because computer account doesn't let any events when you make DC sync, by example. It's more powerful. You can impersonate even, it's okay to the silver ticket. But between the silver ticket and the golden ticket is the ability to impersonate even someone that doesn't exist. So it's the most powerful for me. But between silver and golden, I think, it's my personal point of view, that there is the PKI in the domain. Because the PKI is not very important in your enterprise. That's just the guy that creates a smart card. With a server like this, maybe an HSM if you are lucky. But even with HSM, it's not very perfect. The PKI is able to impersonate any valid account. I don't speak about Kerberos, about impersonation in a Windows point of view. I speak about impersonation, hey, I will create something to identify someone or some things, because it can create certificate for computer and server too. So I love it a lot. So basically, it's very easy. You can create smart card for yourself by the GUI, by the web portal. If you are technical, lead hackers, you can use CertRec to make the good information file to ask certificate for you or other people's. And sometimes, when it works, you have GPU and auto-enrollment to have your certificate. It's standard, this is no secret behind that. But at the end, all of that is a standard protocol, again by Microsoft. There is an RPC access to the PKI to ask certificate. It's difficult to make RPC, I don't like it. So when you use all this standard way, at the end, on your certificate, this is the policy of the domain that will, no, you're a standard user, you will not ask your domain admin user certificate. Come on. So, not the good role. And at the end, if you achieve to get a certificate from the certificate authority, at the end you will be on the log of the domain of the PKI servers. And you will be revoked if it's a fake certificate, if you have some problems. It's very easy. Right-click, revoke, that's all. Game over. But I prefer my way. With kekeo, I don't like certificate authority. But guess what? I like crypto API. Because, in fact, certificate authority just make crypto operation on the key. That's all. So if I want to have my own certificate, my own fake certificate, I will not ask the certificate authority. I will just ask the crypto API. Why I don't deal directly with the key? Because sometimes the key is in HSM, so it's impossible to manipulate. I can't export the key. But an HSM is not here to not be used. An HSM is here to make some crypto operation all the day, hundreds of operations by second sometimes. So guess what? I will just answer my operation. I will ask the HSM to make the operation for me. For the final demo with crypto, and without HSM, it's heavy, and I think I will have problems with the border patrol. So let's go to the PKI. So by default, all Windows PKI generate a certificate authority key exportable. So it's not really a hack. You just have to export the key and make your stuff at home. But let's consider today that this key is not exportable, like a real HSM or real smart cards. So, here I am not the domain administrator, or maybe I am, I don't know, but I'm just a local administrator, that's not the questions. But I have access to the key to ask crypto operations. I can't export them because of the demo. And my copy path doesn't work. And the line is very long, donc it will be difficult. Not a problem, because I made the file in the file. I know VMware don't like me. Yes. So with this command, only crypto API, I will ask the PKI CR key on the local computer to make operation for me, and I insert the CRLDP because it's nearly mandatory when you make operation. But the most important part is I want to be administrator. These users, guess what? It's okay. I have a TGT for these users. I want to be not a macho man, so it's so easy. I want to be the domain controller. Yes, I just ask for the domain. Yes, I ask the DC $. I am the domain controller. I want to be PKI $. No problems. I am. I want to be users. I can impersonate everyone. It's magic. And from the PKI point of view, okay, I have a lot of TGT to use if I want. From the PKI point of view, I didn't generate this certificate. It doesn't exist. It's secret. And when it's not in the log, how do you revoke this certificate? It will be difficult. And even if you achieve to revoke, I will create another one. That's not problems. I have access. But guess what? I can impersonate everyone which is valid in the domain. But there is some other stuff very cool. I will use the diffie one because it's more fast. No, the copy path doesn't work. Here. I have also created another command that with that, or even with your own smart card, that's the main idea. It is TGT pack. It's basic. I ask basically for TGT for myself. But I want something inside. I want credential. So when you have PKI access, you also have access to the NTLM hash of all users. Because when you use smart card for legacy reason, the domain controller gives you back the NTLM hash of yourself. And because I can impersonate everyone, if I want the user hash, no problems. I have. If I want the domain controller hash and will be able to make silver tickets and escalate again and again, no problems I have. So, by a normal protocol on the networks, only Kerberos tickets on the wire, you can dump all NTLM hash of the user in the domain, just because you have access to the key to seeing some things, without log at all. Okay, time is up. Perfect. I finished? thank you to try to understand my Franglish, and if you have any question, I will try to understand your perfect English. I see nothing, so, but I see, oh, one question. Maybe speak louder or maybe a microphone because it will be difficult. Oh, so, oh, yes, so how common are smart cards in companies? In fact, it depends a lot. When you are just a startup, you don't care a lot about this 2FA security, but I can guarantee you in a bank, insurance, government stuff, when there are separations, some DMZ and stuff like that, they use very often smart card, especially on remote jump box to another area on the networks. They use it very often. And they use that because at the end they need Kerberos stuff, so they don't need exotic system. They need standard one, and it's not very expensive, in fact. So it depends on the security level, on the maturity of the company. And even if it's bad for some stuff, it's better than password, so you can use it. There is a lot of person in blue, but I don't see hands. No? You shy? No. One question. No. One question. Back again.
What type of mitigations currently or implementations can be done in order to overcome this type of vulnerability?
What vulnerability? I demonstrate about maybe 4 or 5, I don't know.
Yeah. Mainly about smart card.
So about the smart card is maybe just secure your PKI access server maybe as a most important part. Even a DC controller, in my point of view, is less important. So just secure your PKI access. No local admin, no agent, no stuff like that. And if you have an HSM, secure the HSM too, access. Because I don't need to access to the PKI if I have access to the HSM. I will make exactly the same. So it's just like in the perfect world, no domain admin everywhere, not a lot of local admin, no delegations. It's a candy beer world, I know, but it's that. There is no mitigation, it's just organization and segregation. I know it's not the answer that you want to hear. Nobody wants that.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much.